I'm Sharon Lee Williams. I am the host of Outraised Voices, and I am so glad you're here. For those of you who've been here before, thank you so much for coming back. And for those of you who are new, thank you for showing up again. Or just joining us, joining this community, because we need you and your voice matters. Remember that. As you know, Outraised Voices, we support foster children who have been in foster care, adults who have been in care, those of us who have been in care, whether you're adopted, foster parent, all of that. That is our community here. Plus, we have mindset coaches and financial literacy and everything. But today, our CEO, which stands for Conversation, Education, and Outreach, in case you didn't know, our CEO today is Gloria Vincent. Indeed. Now, Gloria is a licensed foster care provider for, now I don't want to say the county wrong, so I'm going to say for Minnesota, and then Gloria will step in, because I'm not sure if it's Hennepin County, but she's going to tell us all of that. But she's been a foster care provider in Minnesota for 20 years, and a respite care provider, and she had a career in human resources. So Gloria, let's just step in, Gloria. Because you have obviously been a woman who's cared. You're a woman who cares. A person who cares. So let's talk about that. How does Gloria start? Where do you start from? Do you think that when you were younger that you were, some of us wanted to be nurses, or some of us wanted to be whatever. Were you that young girl?
Yes, I wanted. When I was a young girl, I came from a small town, and I used to do a lot of babysitting and I always liked kids. I always thought I wanted 10 kids when I grew up.
Wow.
So I was like, as my mother called me, the Pied Piper. I always had some kids around me as a babysitter.
Yeah.
And so as I got older, and I realized that kids cost a lot of money, I decided to have 3 instead of 10. But by then I had moved to Minnesota. And when I got here, I didn't know anything about foster care as I was growing up. But I got to Minnesota, I found out about foster care. And Minnesota was, according to was notorious in taking our children, Black children, and they got adopted out to white families. And I'm going, no.
Mm-hmm. But why were they doing that? Were those the only homes that were available?
Well, it was really hard in the beginning, for African Americans, according to what they told me in the classes that I took, was that it was really hard for African Americans to be foster parents for their own race of children. They all went to white people.
It was hard to find African American families.
Well, there really wasn't a zillion of them up here, but there were. They were taking the children from the Black families here, but so they had relatives and everything else. So it was. One day I was.
So they didn't put them in kinship care and all of that. They weren't doing all of that then. They were just saying, "We're taking you out."
And so one day I heard this story about the lady who was trying to get her grandchildren, and the foster parents that whoever child that was were Caucasian, but she had them for a while, and they ended up giving the foster care, or let the Caucasian woman adopt him. I go, oh no. And these people were well educated. They came out, and the whole bit had said no. So one day I just said, I'm going to do foster care because I'm going to take, our children need to be home with us. And my goal will be I mean, my husband's goal will be to get them home. I don't care how you get, how attached you get to them. They need to go home.
Yes, that's the goal. That is the goal. So I was going to ask you, where is your why? But that is your why and your intention. Now, you had kids of your own. Were your kids at home
no, they
at
were
the
grown
time
at
you
that
started
time.
bringing?
I had two kids that were just getting out of high school. Okay, but it just happened just right at the right time. I had right before I signed up for that, I had found out that I had double lung cancer, and I beat that. And as soon as I did that, I started going to classes.
Well, so this is something you decided to do before you were diagnosed with lung cancer? And then the diagnoses came in, so you had to put that aside. And then when all was clear, you said
it only
time
took
to step into...
about 11 months for it to get rid of it. Yeah.
Wow.
That was in 2004. And I said,
well, I'm
in
glad.
fact, it was a rainy night and it was storming. And I think God sent me. I really do. And I wasn't feeling so good. And the meeting was on that night, kind of way away from me. And I got up, put my clothes on, and my husband said, "Where are you going?" I said, "I'm going to this meeting." He said, "Are you crazy? You're storming out there." And I said, "I have to go. I just have to go." And as I got closer to it, I felt better. Yeah, so and I told him, I said, God, he made me get up out that bed because I was determined to go. I didn't care. I was going. And then I signed up, and then the strangest thing happened. We went through all the classes. And one thing about it, they had some wonderful classes to teach us how to be foster parents and what to look for and a whole bunch of other stuff. And like I told Dad, this is really good because some of this I could have used.
Yes, as a parent. But did your husband? It's Edgar, right? Did he come with you to some of these classes?
He would go with me. And so one day I was at the beauty shop getting my hair done, and I told them I wanted our kids. I didn't want babies because I was working. I said, but I'll take school age, 4 or 5, I can deal with. So I was getting my hair done, and the lady who ran the program, she knew me. They had so many kids and babies, they didn't have enough foster homes, right? So the lady called me at the woman who had out of the program said, "Call Gloria Vincent." So the lady called. She said, "Well, she told me to call you because we need some help." And I said, "What kind of help?" She said, "Well, I need help with. We need help because we got all these babies, and we don't have any place to put them." She thought you would take one. I said, "Babies? I'm not set up for babies." I said, "I don't have a baby, nothing." And she said, "Well, you only have to take one." And I said, "One what? How many babies you got?"
One what?
She said, "These are twins."
Wow.
I said, "How old are they?"
Oh.
She said, 2 days old. I said, "Oh, no, I'm coming to get them."
Oh.
I said, "Yeah, I'm taking them."
My goodness.
I said, "But you got to give me some." They were still in the hospital. I said, "You got to give me some time, and they better be there when I get there. I got to go buy baby everything." I went up there, and we ran around and I called my husband. I said, "Meet me at the baby store. We're getting babies." He said, "Okay." He said, "Okay."
Wow.
And so the people said, "You going to get them?" I said, "I'm going to get them." Because I asked her, "Are they African American?" She said, "Yeah." I said, "That is just morally wrong. They'll never get back together." We took them both.
That's right.
And they are now 19.
That's right. So you took, how long did they stay with you?
Us
Because
for
I'm
about a
assuming
year and a
they
half,
returned
and then their
home.
grandmother decided, just when we were getting ready to adopt them, the grandmother decided that she wanted them. So, and of course, it was a big. My family was on. I said, don't worry, they're not going anywhere, because I'm going to make her my best friend. So they still call me mama.
Oh my goodness!
And the whole family is together. I said, but it's good for them to be with their family.
Yes.
You know, so that
if it's safe,
it was safe. It was safe.
It's good.
Mm-hmm.
That's the goal. It was safe.
It was kind of, you know, families are families. You can't pick them. But you know, we checked on them all the time. But yeah, they still come around. They've never been. They wouldn't let us see them for 6 months because they told them that they would forget us. I said, babies don't forget nothing. So you know, but we went to see them, and then so they always calls me mom, and then one of them said, "Mom, where have you been? I've been looking for you." I said,
so you were able to talk to this grandmother, have a communication, and say, is that where
because see, the problem with
the
that
foster
is
care comes in?
Just because I really think kids need to go home when it's safe. They need to be with their families. We could be extended. They would never forget us, you know, and we would always be in the life. And also the doctor, the pediatrician told them the same thing. But I didn't have a problem with that lady because she was glad to have the help, you know. And so we would get the twins all the time. They, you know, we did a heck of a lot. Took them to Disney World, did all kinds of stuff with those twins. And so it was just like one big family. So now that when the kids, they talk about their family, you ask the twins, you know, how many people in your family? They say, oh, we got a lot of people.
Wow. What a blessing for everybody, but especially for those children. When you say 2 days old in the hospital, and they would have absolutely been separated. Absolutely.
So then, when, you know, after, you know, so like I was telling Ed, I said, that's one of the best things I ever did. I said, I'm glad God woke me up that day, because they had a certain way to do their training, but this lady decided to do it a little different so it would speed it up. And I was in that class. It was only one ever done like that. She never did it again, and she don't know why she didn't do it. She didn't know why she did it the first time. I said, if I hadn't, she hadn't done it, I'd have missed the twins. I said, God put that together.
So when you said she did a class, what made that
her classes,
so special?
She would do like maybe 1 or 2 a month. With ours, when we started, she decided to do 1 a week. And so till we qualified for our license. And we became good friends. And I said to her, why haven't you ever done that? She said, you know what? I don't know. I don't know why I did it the first time, but I never thought about doing it again. I said, because the Lord said, the twins are coming and they need to go to Gloria.
Yeah, they need to. We have to expedite this. Come on now.
That was like I told her. I said, like, I couldn't stay home that night, storming like crazy, going to this meeting, because I just had to go. And I was really kind of sick. I said, I'm going. I have to. And all I told him was, I have to go.
So, all right, you have the twins now. Do we continue on with other children?
I had everything from babies to teenagers.
Well, let me ask you about the teenagers. Let me go there, because as I remember being a teenager, I was a foster child. So being as a teenager, I know I came with these challenging being a teenager. So how did you handle sort of the, well, it depends on the child, of course, but some of the trauma or the pained thoughts and the behavior that, you know, might happen? Did you have that? How was discipline and how was caregiving?
Well, first of all, instead of I would always have them bring the teenager out so we could meet first, let them look at the house, and everything else, sit down and have a conversation with them, and let them ask me questions. And most teenagers will ask the question, well, what am I allowed to do or not allowed to do? And I go, I don't know. What do you do? So they tell me, one of the girls said, I don't go to school. I listened to her. I said, well, here, you're going to school every day. You're a teenager, you're going to school every single day. That's not an option. I said, because it's the best thing for you. And I'm going to work. Besides, you don't want to be in the house by yourself, and I'm not leaving you in the house by yourself. So you want to stand outside? She started laughing. And then she goes, no. So, and she went to school every day. That was the only time in her life that I had her 3 years. She went to school every day. Never had to wake her up after that. But what I tell them when they come, I said, I want you to understand, when you come here, this is your home. You may be staying here for a while. Nobody needs to know you're a foster child. If they ask you who you are, you tell them you're Gloria's child. Now, as far as rules are concerned, since we've never lived together, we have to figure out what the rules are. They all can't be mine, and all of them can't be yours. We have to compromise, okay? And sometimes we have to wait and see what happens with the incident. And then when I get through talking to them, I said, now you have to go you think about it if you want to come here or not. Most of them said, yeah, I want to come. Because I made it feel like home. I said, no, we all do the same things together. This is a family. I said, you are going to be part of my family. Part of our family is what you are.
So this is nurture versus discipline, but you still had the...
Yeah, but when they had their issues, though, at first I'd find out...
Yes.
We'd find out, what was going on, why they're there, what kind of issues they had. And then I would find doctors and do research, but of course the county would pay for it, on these kinds of issues, and I would always get them therapy or whatever they needed, to help with that.
Did you ever refuse any child, or? No.
I didn't refuse no child. I had a child that said, I hate you. I said, of course you do. You're mad at your mother. And so you got to be mad at me. You can't be mad at her. Oh. But she had a real bad issue with her mother, because her mother didn't want her, and she knew it, and her mother made it clear to everybody. So she couldn't. Some days, most of the time, we get along. But when she had a sister, and the mother would want to spend time with the sisters, but since it was a family group, that couldn't happen, because until I got her in some kind of therapy. And when I got her in therapy, she was kind of angry with the therapist and didn't want to go back because the therapist couldn't make her mother talk to her. So.
So you were proactive in terms of dealing, especially because we're coming with pain issues. Obviously abandonment issues, all of those things.
If you let them, they'll tell you everything.
Yes. And while this is happening, because you sound pretty resilient. You'd have to, how many children did you actually
about
foster?
25. But I took sibling groups. Yeah. I didn't want one child because I didn't want the kids to be separated. And I told them when we started this, I am not taking one child to visit her brother or sister. Either give me all of them or none of them. Because children don't need to be separated because parents are having a time. Their brothers and sisters is their strength at that point. So we only took sibling groups.
So so you and your husband are working through this, are going through this. How do those conversations work with you and Edgar and the children? Do you find that you as the mother is more not involved, but just having the conversations more?
Yeah,
or do you have male children?
I had the conversations with them.
Yeah.
And pretty much I took them most to their counseling. My husband is a real estate man. And he was running around, and he had so he was doing that. And I was working. So when I came home from work, if I had to go to the grocery store, because we had people, he had a friend of ours that would come and stay with the kids if we got home late from work, because I didn't leave them in the house by themselves. So, and I didn't they couldn't cook unless I was home, because I had a stove I could lock. And so if I went to the store, I took them. For 1 year, I took them everywhere I went. Saturday mornings to barbershops to get their hair done and everything else, for groceries, to restaurants. When I moved, they moved. Because I was teaching them some socialization.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And
yes. So did you only have African American children?
They messed up one day and gave me two Caucasian boys. Love them little boys, and they stayed with us for about 3 years. Wow. And they didn't want to go home, and they were just wonderful kids. Yeah. And white folks used to look at me really weird. Because they called me Mama G. All the kids called me Mama G. Yes. One little girl named me that, and it stuck. And we were at the store, and she said, Mama G. He said, Mama G, can I have this truck? And I said, well, I don't know. Let's see. You got 1,000 at home. You sure you don't have it at home? He went back around where the trucks were, and this guy looked at me and said, this Caucasian guy goes, can I ask you something? I said, yeah. He said, are those your kids? I said, yeah. He said, where'd you get them from? I said, well, if your mother didn't know how you make babies, I can't tell you.
You can't help you here. Yeah.
And walked away.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, I would imagine you're going to catch a little, not flack, but just curiosity.
But I told my husband, when I see white people without babies, I don't say, where'd you get them from? Mm-hmm. He was kind of like indignant because they were blonde haired, blue eyed. Are these your kids? I said, yeah, they are. And they were.
Well, I'm just going to say, Gloria, that my son came out blonde hair and blue eyed, and people asked me, is that your kid? They stopped me at the border and thought I had kidnapped this little baby because he was blonde hair and blue eyed.
Yeah, and everybody in the store started laughing. Because one lady said, good for you, because he had no business asking you that. He was just shocked.
Yeah.
So we just went on about our business.
So are you still in touch with those little boys?
They went back to their mother, and unfortunately that didn't work out, and she took them someplace else. And I talked to the guardian ad litem, and they got they didn't go back to foster. They got adopted.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And they got adopted together.
So are you still fostering, or
I'm not doing foster care or rescue care because I quit. My middle daughter got sick and she died, and I just didn't. I didn't have the desire or the energy or the heart to do what I needed to do.
Yes.
Because I said, and it wouldn't be fair to the kids. So I said, I'm done.
Right. Yeah, I understand that. So what do you feel? How great is the need? I'm going to say in Minnesota, but I mean, this is an international need, fostering and finding homes. And what I've been told is that there are a lot of families who have fostered before who aren't doing it anymore, who themselves are aging out.
That's right.
that situation, whether it's financially or whether it's just aging out. So how great is the need where you are?
Pretty. What I understand now, just from talking to a couple people, is that it's a little better than it was, because it did hit that point where they did, like, that's how I got the twins. There was too many people. I didn't have enough people. But there is, but I think they're leaning more now to not taking them so fast from home, and they're trying to have more in-home services for them. And that was coming up when I was getting ready to, when I quit doing that, because I was getting ready to try to do home care with young mothers, teaching with babies and stuff, and themselves, and what you don't put up with, that whole thing. Yeah, but my daughter and I said, no, I can't. I just didn't have. I didn't hardly do anything for a year.
Totally understandable. Now, do you find predominantly it's, I'm going to guess, African American children who are in care, and what can we do and if that is so, what can we do?
I think that we can, what I really think, because in a society where you're a minority, and like we're that we're supposed to be the minority. I don't believe that, but but I think it kind of have to. We have to look out for the children. We're so busy sometimes working, making money, traveling, doing this and that and the other at this new age, that it's all about me. But the children sometimes, like I tell Ed, that it's crazy that you would get a 3-year-old a cell phone so they can push buttons instead of doing other things with them, because there's, so then they pick up everything off of that. Because some of these kids a lot of them are, when they have, really, I don't believe in bad families. When they really have good structure, they can be polite. Some of them that don't have good structure are just a mess. And then another thing we need to do is find out, because they have at any point, they have a good time when they take them to court, to label them, well, he's got, he needs counseling. I did some gardening at Leiden work too, for 3 years. And when I had a lawyer do that to one of my kids, and I told the judge, how does he know that? He hasn't been to counseling. I don't want that on his record. He has no business standing up in here talking about he needs a counselor. He needs a lot of things. But we need, I said, he don't even see him but once every 90 days. They made him take it off of it. Said, and I told him, quit. I don't want anybody labeling our children. And, and sometimes, the mothers, some are young and everything else, they don't know how to say, no, wait a minute. You can't, I don't want that on my child. So
how to advocate for themselves, how to speak up, how to find their voice. And we're also dealing with an unhealed group of adults.
A crazy society that thinks it can label you.
Yep. Yes, that can label you. And I think these children were so fortunate to have you in their lives, really, really fortunate, and probably a testament to, I don't know what your parents were like, but it feels like it's a testament to your parents, because on whose shoulders we stand. You are we have to celebrate you. And I want everybody to know, by the way, that Gloria is also the godparent of my friend, Deneen Andrades, who some of you have seen in the first season of the show, and Deneen is a mind coach specialist as well as many other things. But I am so happy that I had this opportunity to talk to you. Is there anything you want to say that I haven't asked you before we say adioso.
Okay. The only thing I would like to see is more African Americans involved with a system that can collect our children, because some of that is not necessary. Because here,
Right.
if I smack my child on the butt, they used to have that thing out. If you feel like somebody's hurting you, call us. Is that?
Yep.
And then the kid out in the suburb gets in trouble. They don't take him from home. They keep them there and try to get them counseling. They take our kids from home. And so what I'm saying is that, and I used to tell them, you just tell those young people, you got to listen to what they say. And when their social worker says, or whoever tells you, and the lawyer, when you go on the court, you can't say anything. I said, you certainly can. Raise your hand. Or one time I just jumped up and said, wait a minute. I said,
find your voice. I said,
wait a minute. And everybody stopped and looked at me. I didn't care. I was going to say what I had to say because didn't know this can't be happening. But I told him, I said, imagine this. Every time somebody tells you what you can't say, remember when your parents told you what you couldn't do? And they said, yeah. I said, and you did it anyway? They said, yeah. I said, then do it in court. If you did it to your mother and you disrespected her, you can't give them no more disrespect. Just say, wait a minute. And the judge will listen. Because I knew that from doing guardian ad litem work. Because he will say, excuse me, do you have something to say?
Which work? I'm sorry, I'm missing the work.
What was the guardian ad litem program? Yeah, that's where we take care of the kids as they go to court. Make sure they have lawyers, and try to help them hook up with days to see their parents or whatever. Go to schools, take them to the doctor, or if they need it. Sometimes I used to go to if they were teenagers, I'd go to their football games or basketball games, and stuff like that. Go to take them out to eat. I gave him my phone number. I said, if you get upset, I don't care if it's night or day, call me, wake me up.
Well, Gloria, I thank you for your caring, for your service, for all the things that you stand for, and to get these children home, all of that you stand for, what you stood for. I celebrate you. We celebrate you. And I wish you good health. You.
Oh, yeah.
And happiness and all the joy that you can feel.
All my kids went home except two. Two got adopted.
Yeah. But
all the ones I had, I fought for them to go home. I said, nope. And in fact, we had to have meetings about who was going to, and I had to tell some Caucasian people that they wanted to adopt this one girl, and I asked them some questions, and I told the guy, no, you can't adopt. I don't agree with you adopting her. And he told me, we'll see about that. I said, well, I'm going to see to it that you don't. And I did. I sent her back home. I got her to go back.
So you're saying out of all the foster kids, two were adopted out. The rest of them went home? Yeah, the rest went home or... Oh,
that was my goal.
That's wonderful.
And sometimes, I'd hate to see them leave. You get to love them to their face.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I wanted to ask you about that sort of separation when that happens, because
you're happy to see them go, but because they're going home.
Yes. But your heart is like, because you give so much and your heart's involved in that.
Yeah, that's true.
Distant, so
they really do become your kids. For me, they did.
Yes, yes. Yeah. Well, Gloria, you are awesome. You are awesome, girl. Awesome. So thank you.
I'm gonna let you. Every now and then he'd take the boy to the barbershop, but when he had time. But other than that, it was me. I just enjoyed going around with him, showing him stuff. Too.
But you were still a team.
We were still
That's
a team,
it. You were in a
yes.
home. They came to the team. That's the thing. You were a cohesive team that these kids saw. A family.
That's what I told them. You're a family.
Unit. So
and you're going to always be family. I told them, even when you get wrong, if you get in trouble, come home.
Come on. Oh, my God. Where were you when I needed you? No. But okay. I thank you. All right,
thank you
Gloria,
for having me.
You have yourself an... I appreciate you showing up for the community, because this is it's an international problem. It doesn't matter what city, what county, what state, what country you're in. We need people like you to step up. Yeah, we need you all to step up. All right, be well, Gloria.
Okay, well, you have a blessed week, blessed year. Stay healthy and safe.
Thank you. You too. All right. Well, that was Gloria Vincent. We appreciate Gloria. That was a wonderful interview to be with that charismatic Gloria, who brought all her love and her energy to give to children and families who needed it. And as she said, her goal was to send them home. And she did. She sent them home. And that's a beautiful thing. Thank you again, Gloria. Thank you all for watching. Drop us a line, drop us a comment. Let us know what you think about this. Be well, you all. Until next time, I'm Sharon Lee Williams, and this is Outraised Voices.